everybody. Welcome to The Banish Zone, a show about flesh and blood featuring Bryn.
And Chris.
And we're back, baby.
That's right, we're back.
It's been a little while.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think we put one out just a couple months ago, 7 months ago or something.
2 or 7 months ago. As we hinted at on the last episode, Chris and David wanted to start a new show called The Crankshaft, which has been going. And there's actually been a little hiatus from Chris's side here on that show as well. You know, we have very busy lives together, and we're not going to really apologize. The show is never going to be your fucking Flesh and Pod, your Living Legends, your bragging about, you know, never missing a
How many
week
in a row were they? Like 140? We would have to like sabotage their show and then do 140 in a row to beat them.
No, I just mean we're not content creators, really.
Yeah.
We do this for fun, and people have been asking where we've been and if we're going to do it, and we will. We're continuing to do it, and we're back because it's just been a while, and we had a lot to talk about and had some time. My life has been getting even more busy. Actually, Chris is getting even more busy as well. But
very true.
You know, we've been talking a lot about flesh and blood, so we thought, hey, how have you been?
Why not turn on a microphone?
Also, Tall Timmy came back, so we're like, all right, we can't let down our friend Tall Timmy.
That is some of the best Fab news I've seen. Like, it's the only news that like comes close to like a new card or a new hero that's really cool or something. Is just the coolest guy in Fab is back in action.
He's back.
We love to see it.
He's back, and we love him.
Yeah, welcome back, Paul.
Welcome back, Paul. You know, no pressure as well, you know. But we are also going to start doing the podcast. Trying to do weekly. We honestly have never really done weekly, but
we were doing it. We switched it to bi-weekly at one point, like twice a month, because we realized it was hard to find stuff to talk about every single week.
Yeah. That's true. We'll probably stay bi-weekly.
We could do that. I feel like for the first couple of months we had so much to say about Flesh and Blood. We were like every week, easy, and then it starts. You run out of juice if like there's not any new news that week.
Right. So how do we start the show? What do we do? Do you remember now, Chris? I think we just say, what have you been doing?
I don't think we have anything specific. I mean, we could work backwards, starting yesterday with your brilliant blazing victory.
Yes, thank Blitz. You. I won an armory for the second time. Or no, for the second time this year at Action City.
Yeah.
So the thing about our armories is that we have a little tally marker of everyone who's won. So Chris last year won the most with what, 9 or 10?
Was it 9? I think it was 9. Yeah, I think I was like wanting to
get double slash.
I wanted to get to double, like, yeah, because it's a bragging right if you get 4 and then you get the 5th one. That's the slash across.
Right. In America, we do tallies 1, 2, 3, 4 lines and then 1 slash across.
Yeah.
Not in Asian countries, they do the kanji for 5 or one of the kanjis for 5.
That's cool.
It's different, but everybody called it getting the slash is when you get the 5th win. So Chris had 9. And
at a certain point, there was a little inflation and just became each tally became a slash.
That's not inflation. That's called semantic drift, and it's because people are fools.
That's why we got to reset this podcast, because there's too much tomfoolery in the world.
There's too much tomfoolery in the world. Yeah. But I got a tally yesterday, my second one.
Yeah, you burninated my ass on the way to it too.
I did. It was a Blitz Armory, and I was playing Blaze, which my dear friend Logan Peterson of Flesh and Pod, what do they call it? Muled it? Donkeyed it? What do they call it?
Mailed? The postal service?
Yeah. He mailed it to me from Gen Con. That was very sweet of him, and I want to thank him very much for doing that for me, because I don't know how I would have gotten one otherwise.
I mean, before Gen Con, I think one of our local friends, Andy, bought one from the UK for like $200.
Whoa, you don't have to name them if you're not thanking them. You're telling a friend that did a bad deal.
Well, I don't know. He's happy to have it. We'll censor it out if you want.
Listen, Andy, I'm not talking shit. If you want the smoke, why don't you come? You got to go to Chris for that.
It's just an example of how much they cost before Gen Con happened.
That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got an armory win, and that was a lot of fun. That deck is very good. It also helped that the two of the best players at Action City brought Victor.
Victor Goldmain. Yeah,
which isn't the easiest. It's not the easiest.
Victor's strong. Yeah, he's a pretty aggro guardian, especially in Blitz. He can just put the numbers to you.
Right. So, one on Blitz. I don't think we have done a podcast since Chris played in the Pro Tour.
It's possible we haven't, yeah.
I'm not sure,
Feels
but
like
that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Chris top 8'd the Realm Fest.
That's true. That's something that happened. Yeah, I was going to say,
last time Chris was on camera for Flesh and Blood was in top 8.
Yeah.
Or actually, you were on camera 3 times, right?
Yeah. I'm not quite sure why they put me on so many times. It's possible that
because you're so handsome.
That's probably why. I think when I was watching the stream back, the second time I got put on.
Yeah. Derek and Sam were just like, this guy's too smoking.
I'm distracted from the cards. No, I think it is actually possible that one of the times somebody else didn't want to, because I think it was like the second time I was on stream, it was like taking a while for the stream game to start, and the realm organizer or something was saying like people sometimes decline, so it's hard to find. So maybe they asked a table and someone was like, I don't want to, and then
I'm scared.
And then they just came and told me I had to do it again.
Yeah, signing up for official tournaments, you're not allowed to say no.
Right. I mean, I think it's like you definitely you agree to be on camera when you like sign up for them.
If you top 8, like you can't say no.
Yeah. I think in like Swiss, it's like, I'm sure it's one of those things where like even if they could be like you signed a contract that said you want to, they'd rather just get someone else who's more willing than like strong arm someone. But
right.
Yeah.
But you got all the way to top 8 and you won $250 in top 8. That's
pretty
very
sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd rather talk about that than the Pro Tour where I ate shit and won no money.
Yes,
Pro Tour was hard
true.
as hell. Not gonna lie. But yeah, the Realm was it was a sweet time. I felt like I rolled through on the power of Zen still being busted even after Bonds got banned. Won some Zen mirrors, won some good matchups.
Yeah, in case you were wondering, I guess, not everybody who listens to this show knows this in person. There's definitely, some of our episodes have quite a few listeners, and we definitely don't know most of you. So who knows how many listens this will get. But if you were wondering where we've been, we haven't stopped playing Flesh and Blood.
That's true. Yeah.
We have been only playing more Flesh and Blood, if that's possible.
Yeah.
I have been on tour, traveling for work. I always bring a deck though.
Now you could get 2 first strike decks and just bring those.
I am planning on it.
It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be real nice.
I don't think anyone in pianos will play with me, but you don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they love card games. I don't
knows?
want to judge. Pianos become the teeth.
Maybe they'll learn.
But I've been busy with touring and lots of work trips, but I still, like I said, bring my Kano deck and sometimes learn to play decks when I can or every time, and try to make people play with me or challenge me at a show. And that's an open standing. If you're out in the middle of the country, if you are especially if you're on the East Coast and I'm touring, I usually have time for a game between sound check and playing the show, or afterwards. So please, if you come to a Stay Inside show, bring your deck because I will play you.
Turn that shit into Dual City.
They said it was going to be Dual City. So we've been playing a lot. Chris has been playing the Crankshaft and doing that with David Citrick quite a bit. And we're just both very excited for... So we've been playing so much Flesh and Blood that Chris is going to the Rosetta world premiere.
That's true. Perhaps I'll see you there.
Without me. I will not be there.
I uninvited you. I didn't want you to go.
That's very rude of you.
No, she has a prior engagement.
I
cannot
have
go.
a business trip that I have to be on that I can't get out of and wouldn't want to.
Sure.
But the announcement is that we are definitely going to Osaka.
That's true.
Osaka, and we're going there together, and we're very excited. It's not a premiere; it's the World Championship.
Yeah.
Rosetta will be out. There'll probably be an announcement of the next set. Probably.
Yeah, that's usually how it works, right?
Yes.
Because when will the beginning of the year set usually comes out in like February or something, March, something like that.
I'm pretty sure Brian had the outline of when everything will come out. At what was that one where they announced Rosetta?
Amsterdam. Pro Tour
Amsterdam. So that was into 2025, and I think it listed out the next 3 sets, I want to say.
Yeah.
Unnamed. So we'll probably find out some cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We are very excited to celebrate Flesh and Blood's 5-year anniversary.
Oh yeah, we get those packs.
We're gonna get those packs. Cool. Well, I'm gonna get those packs. You have to buy one. I don't know if you're gonna be able to.
I might
do so well.
If I'm playing in the calling.
So goated in the calling.
Yeah. Or hey, there's always a slim chance I could be playing in the World Championship. It seems unlikely, but if I win a PTI,
slim chance. You're gonna give it a shot.
I think I have one more chance because I'm playing in the calling at the World Premiere.
Right. You have to top 8 or top 16?
I think top 8. I don't think top 16 gets a PTI.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you got to be top 8, so it can happen. I day 2'd the last sealed calling I played. Have we not done a podcast since we did the
Partha Misfail's calling?
No, the heavy hitters sealed calling in Hartford. I don't remember if we did one about that or not.
My recollection is that we did a episode with David called Heavy Spoilers.
Yeah, I think we were doing it when Heavy Hitters wasn't out yet.
Slacking. We've been slacking.
Yeah, we're sorry. But we both played in that calling, and that was the first time I day 2'd calling, was at that sealed calling. So
right.
Maybe Lady Luck will visit me again, and I'll do well at
Lady
this Rosetta.
Luck will be a lady tonight.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this calling because it's such a fresh and even playing field. I also love playing constructed tournaments where there's a lot to be known and learned about the format, but it's very cool to be a really high stakes tournament with just a new set that you've basically learned about the week before. It's very fun.
Yeah, it's very scary and a lot of fun. I did awful at the heavy hitters one.
I'm sorry.
We didn't go to the Partha Misfail World Premiere, but we did.
That was in Japan, I think.
Did we play? That was in Tokyo, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And did we go to Partha Misfail at all to play any sealed? Besides the premiere, the regular premieres?
I think we just did pre-releases. There wasn't any kind of tournaments nearby for it.
Right.
I don't know, they should just do one at Hartford all the time. Hartford was a great location.
Right. So what we have to say overall, generally, Heavy Hitters was fun.
Yeah.
We ended up having a lot of fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
I ate shit in that calling. You did okay, right?
I did day 2, and then in the draft it all went wrong.
In the draft it all went wrong. Yeah. It's tough. It wasn't the easiest draft set.
Mm-hmm. I did I felt pretty happy about where I ended up placing. I think I was 1 win away from min cashing, which I had never until the Realm tournament. I had never made any money at a Flesh and Blood tournament. So feeling close at a calling was cool. It definitely felt very in my grasp.
It was within my grasp. Yes. And then we did. Then Partha Misfail came out,
mm-hmm.
and as everyone knows, we're not the first to say this. Probably their best limited set of all time.
6 sealed set. From what I haven't actually played the sealed in a while, but I remember the sealed being really fun.
The sealed was the construction was great. I did pretty good with the draft. The draft was really, really good.
Oh, that's true. You got a 3-0 with a Enigma once.
Yeah.
It's very fun when that sick Enigma deck comes together in draft.
Yeah. Enigma is really good in draft. I realize I'm wearing headphones and I don't need to be.
Oh, yeah. Get him out of here.
Yeah, it's been very fun. And we've had a lot of great times with Flesh and Blood, and we're very excited about Rosetta.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to look over the cards for Rosetta, since that's kind of what people are doing?
Yeah, let's look at some Rosetta cards.
All right, let's look at some Rosetta cards.
Yeah, was the last draftable set before Heavy? It was Bright Lights, right? That was a real whiplash from how bad Bright Lights sealed was to Heavy Hitters and then Mistveil sealed being actually fun and playable formats.
Yeah, I thought I'm on record as liking Bright Lights.
Sure. I mean, honestly, Bright Lights Draft I still think is a fine draft format. I think just the sealed was a really clunky and really fatiguey focused type of sealed format where getting evos was just kind of good. So just the fact that they made a couple sets where it actually is exciting to play a sealed calling with that set is pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. I think so. Rosetta's coming out. It is a return to Tales of Aria, and sorry, not Tales of Aria. It's a return to Aria,
the land of Aria.
And I'm very excited about it. We're just gonna skip right to the most exciting stuff, is because it's a wizard set.
Yeah,
and it's the first wizard set we've had since
Uprising. Icelander, right?
Yeah, I don't even know. It's kind of hard to even argue that it had a wizard in it, but it was not a wizard set. It wasn't.
That's true. It was one of the heroes.
Kano got almost no playable cards.
Right. He got Aether Dart, Dampen.
There you go.
Yeah.
No one runs Dampen. You could feasibly play Dampen.
He got Waning Moon. I guess he got Waning Moon and Illuvian for the Kano mirror and stuff.
Those are big deals. Those are not nothing.
But really not that much. Like his playstyle did not change.
But honestly, I don't even run those in the mirror. Like you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't necessarily make it better.
Yeah, just a thing you can do.
It just gives you some game gives you some value for A-being. We'll see.
Yeah.
It just depends on how good your opponent is, honestly.
Yeah.
But as everyone knows who has listened to the show or knows me personally, I play Kano almost exclusively. I'm a big wizard head. So the show is also called The Banish Zone. So Earth Wizard.
Banishing
awesome,
shit. Arcane
awesome
damage.
Lady. Looking cool. I'm very, very excited about Verdance.
We both dabbled in Runeblade as well. Like the Runeblade part of the set I think is going to be fun too.
I'm trying to talk about Verdance right now,
All right,
so
I'm sorry.
I don't know why you're trying to ruin my whole life. Verdance, Thorn of the Rose is her name, and she says, if there are 8 or more Earth cards in your Banish Zone, Verdance gets whenever you gain health during your turn, you may deal 1 arcane damage to any opposing target. Essence of Earth.
Oh, it's even opposing target. That's cool. Also, really notable that it's the first
Very notable.
wizard with 40 health. Not 30. Not 36.
Yeah.
Not 17.
The very first one.
40.
Even Oslo doesn't have that, right?
He's 36, I think. He's the same as Icelander.
So I don't know what this is really going to be. Nobody really knows what it's going to be, but I feel like I really love what I play in UPF is Yoji, because I like 2 things in Flesh and Blood. My favorite things in Flesh and Blood are playing on your turn and gaining life. I really like gaining life.
It's tough to beat.
I feel like they made this explicitly for me. I feel like I've said both of those things to Brian Gottlieb, so I feel like this is kind of a thing. That
he was like, why don't I make this one a girl? In honor of, what's her name? Bryn from the Banish Zone?
Yeah, what's her name? Yeah, thank you, Brian, for making this hero for me. This cool druid lady who cares about the Banish Zone. It's not Shadow. If it was a Shadow Earth wizard or something,
that'd be really
it's
crazy.
like a Dawn theme, then we'd be even more going crazy. Aesthetically, I'm not super foresty, but whatever.
Sure.
You can't have the world. Mechanically, I'm very, very excited that they made a wizard that wants to gain life and wants to banish stuff and wants to play on your turn, is what I hope. So I am very excited about her. Most people are basically saying that they think that she won't be good.
Sure.
And I think the reason for that is that generally when sets come out, the aggro, easy, most simple, straightforward, linear deck is the one that people gravitate to because they know how to squeeze the numbers out of it.
Yeah.
And sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes there's a deck that's much more powerful that takes a couple months to figure out. And we've talked about this before, but it's like, for example, with Icelander.
That's a perfect example, yeah.
With Dromai. Fi was the immediate standout. They had to immediately ban Stubby Hammerers. And people were like, oh, Fi is cracked.
Yeah.
And he was, but it took people a while even to figure Fi out. But, running Belittle Minnowism and like, we talked about this, is that when they banned Stubby Hammerers, people were like, oh, he's trash now. Might as well still play Katsu.
Stop playing him, yeah.
Or whoever. Briar?
Yeah.
No, she was...
No,
but
Briar was around then. That was like an aggro deck you could play.
Yeah. So people were like, okay, we'll go back to Briar or whatever. And then they were like, oh, no, he's still cracked.
Yeah.
But then people figured out Icelander, or specifically Michael Hamilton and his team or whoever, figured out, oh, you can just, my math is better and I can kill you from 9 every single time. And she became a very, very strong played deck. Dromai too took a long... I feel like whenever there's archetypes, whenever there's like, oh, you could go big dragon, you could go all reds, you know, super, whatever they call Empress Dromai or whatever. Which one is which?
Empress is like the aggro version that Mara kind
yeah.
of originated, where it's like almost all reds.
And you wear Crown of Dominion or something?
Yeah, to have the gold, I think, and you run like maybe 3 blues or no blue. I think
to pitch into to make ash.
To make ash to start, yeah.
Very weird deck.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can do that, and it takes people months. So it used to. I think people are getting faster iterating on this stuff because there's more people in the game. We've got more countries playing now, more languages. And that's very good.
More streams, too. I feel like you could watch a lot more tournaments on YouTube now.
Yeah. But I don't think that means that people are not going... That doesn't mean that people aren't going to know how to play the things. So, or I'm sorry. I don't think that means that people will immediately figure things out. So we definitely do not know enough about the heroes right now to say who's going to be strong and who's going to be not strong.
Right. We don't know much. I mean, like Verdance, you have some idea of like the playstyle. Ocilio is so interesting because it's like his hero ability tells me nothing about like his win condition or how he wants to play.
What's funny is that people are saying Ocilio is going to be the strongest, but it's like, why?
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you mean?
I don't know what he's ever going to do other than draw cards. Like, I mean, I think it's
drawing cards isn't good if they don't do anything.
Yeah, it's a good start that you can
I'm sure it will do something.
Yeah.
So Ocilio is our other wizard hero. He's a lightning wizard, elemental wizard hero. All he says, he's got 36 life and 4 intelligence, as they all do, except for
Date it all.
There's not a single CC hero that doesn't have 4. A very interesting mechanic of the game. It's like. They were like, oh, some people will have more or less intelligence. And they were like,
whoops.
Never mind.
You can't really do that. Yeah.
I would like somebody to... Like, I still think Chain would have been pretty well balanced with 3 intellect.
I feel like 3 intellect Chain, and then he keeps seeds. And maybe, like, he needs another... He might have needed another little boost in some way, but, like, he could have been playable.
I'm really interested to see when the first, like, 5-card hero comes out.
Yeah.
Or 5 intelligence hero, because then you'd be drawing 5 cards.
I feel like they would need a really, like, low life total or a really downside...
I feel like it'd be a ninja.
...hero ability. You see ninja 5-card hands?
Yeah.
They're crazy.
Well...
You could play a 6-card Art of War hand.
Yeah, I guess they'd have to... Okay, it can't be ninja.
Yeah, I mean, it's like... any of the classes we have now, if they could play, like... close to like
maybe alchemist would have 5 intellect.
Yeah, I think it'd have to be like a weird hero. Like
I can imagine a wizard with 5 cards.
Like a wizard that doesn't really get to play in the opponent's turn and like doesn't quite do anything crazy. Yeah, there's definitely ways you could imagine it working, but I'm curious what they have like in the tank for that.
Anyway, sorry for the aside. Ocilio has Constella Intelligence. Constella Intelligence. He says he has 4 intellect and 36 life, and he says once per turn, discard an instant. That's the cost.
Yeah.
So just to activate Ocilio, you discard an instant, and then you draw a card.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, does that mean your deck is supposed to be half instants, and then you want to like cycle through them? Are they gonna?
There's no more. Like that doesn't say like, oh, and you can also play instants from graveyard. There's no anything. It's
right,
just
and he's lightning, not earth, so he's not really gonna have any like
cycle a card.
Yeah,
which it makes sense. Oscillation. It's funny. I don't think people really know what that means, but an oscillator is an electrical circuit function that oscillates, makes a cycle, right? So he's literally cycling.
Oh yeah, that is
cycling
why he's
cards.
cycling. That is funny. Yeah, I didn't quite think about that.
The cycle starts midway through the wave, and then I'm not in the frame. It goes boop like that. That's a cycle.
Neat.
It's a synth thing. So he has other cards. He's the only one who's like spec, like majestic spec has been announced, right? Oh no, maybe Florian.
Did we see a Florian one?
I think we did. We'll look.
Yeah.
But
Felling
he
of the Crown,
has
maybe.
had one of his cards is a Sigil of Brilliance. Oh wait, importantly, his weapon is called Volzar the Lightning Rod.
Cool name.
Yeah. Also, interestingly, we haven't seen Verdance's weapon.
Very interesting. Yeah.
We don't have any clue what her weapon will do.
Or Florian. We don't know what those two. Yeah. We're in the dark in a lot of weird ways about this set.
Yeah. So I think it's weird when people are like, clearly this is going to be the good one or whatever, and it's like, you don't know.
We don't know what they're going to do.
Her fucking Verdance could be like some insane shit, like a Rosetta Thorn, but that like gains you 3 life or like, you know, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they've learned enough.
Obviously it won't, but it's like, I'm just saying it could be completely cracked. You don't know yet.
They just got to give you something with like a little bit of crazy numbers on it, and the deck can become good.
Or just a really good effect.
Yeah,
like,
powerful effect, disruptive. I think the main reason people are like low on Verdance is that the meta right now is so defined by Zen, where it's like every deck is either can you race Zen or can you disrupt Zen? Because you have to do one of the two. And
but
so
to say that you can't disrupt her is like,
sure.
What?
Yeah, we don't know that she doesn't have disruption. It's
we have one of her majestic specializations, and it says it's a 3-cost a 1-cost blue block 3 that says gain 1 life, gain 1 life, gain 1 life, go again. So it's a 1 for 6. You could look at it
when her hero ability is turned on.
With go again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, even a 1 for 3 value with go again blue
at blue is
kind of crazy. Like blue leg tap, go again, ninja card is 1 and it attacks for 2 with go again. This blocks 3 and it gains you 3 life, which is like, I feel like the life gain cards are more or less. If anything, gaining life is sometimes like templated as like weaker, like more valuable than attacks. Like Healing Balm is a 0 for gain 3 life, or like Sunkiss is 0 for gain 3 life, and doesn't have go again.
Doesn't Healing Balm block for 2?
It blocks for 2 and doesn't have go again. This blocks 3, has go again, and is a blue. I mean, and like, this is what people mean when they say a card is pushed. It's like, this is her specialization. It's a very good card. You'll want it for the deck.
Yeah, it does feel pushed. This is what I'm saying, where I'm just like, she has cards that are just going to, I mean, so far we've seen 1 card or, a couple cards.
Yeah.
It's hard to say, like, this will be not good.
Yeah. This card looks very good.
Insane amounts of value, and if dealing 3 damage that you have to block 1 and 1/1, like it doesn't, like, you can't fucking wait. Can you Oasis this? Because it's the same source.
What deals you the damage? Is it
she does
the hero? The hero is a legal target for Oasis. So
sure.
Yeah, I guess you could do that because she says
is it 3 instances from the same source?
What does Oasis?
All right,
say?
we're gonna get bogged down in the rules.
Yeah, sorry. You might be able that. Might be that you can do it. Maybe not.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So she's really confusing and very intriguing to me, but we don't know her weapon. We don't know many of her cards. But Volzar the Lightning Rod here is ostensibly Acilio's. I mean, it's not his specialization.
It's Lightning Wizard.
As far as we know, the only wizard that can run it at the moment. And it says, if you control an aura permanent with Sigil in its name, this costs 1 less resource to activate. Once per turn for 1 resource, amp X, where X is the number of lightning cards you've played this turn. So a rod, a wand. This is a staff, is what they're called.
It's a staff.
There's no wands, or is Surging Aethertide a wand?
I don't know. I think they're all staffs.
They're all staffs.
Staves, if you want to be technical.
Really?
I think so.
Are you for real?
I think
Staves?
I think so.
Okay, that's cool. I like a stave.
Yeah, a little stave. Well, that's the plural. I think staves.
I like those staves.
Yeah.
Like scarves for scarf.
Oh yeah, scarf. Yeah, that is similar. I wonder if it's like the same.
Interesting.
Anyway, this isn't a language podcast. Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
But this is very good. It's a Kindle on a stick, right? It doesn't draw a card, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's free.
So I guess
if you have his specialization, Sigil of Brilliance out, which comes in 2 forms. Probably one's cold foil, and it's a 0 cost instant at yellow. It says at the beginning of your action phase, destroy this. When this leaves the arena, draw a card. So it could feasibly draw a card.
Yeah. Yeah, so it seems like, I guess we don't really know from his hero ability, but his weapon basically says he wants to play sigils, which also it seems like, especially for limited, these sigils are like the instance that he's supposed to have access to. There's like a bunch of different ones for different heroes and classes. They all cost 0. They have a minor effect. They like remind me a little of the Transcend cards in Mistveil, where they like have a minor effect and then also have a synergy that works across the different classes and like turn on things that you want to turn on. So it seems like he wants to like play a bunch of lightning cards in the same turn, play sigils, and then pump something up a bunch and then deal a big amount of arcane damage, which sounds very fun. It sounds like a ninja wizard kind of.
Yeah. It sounds really crazy.
Go wide wizard. Sounds nuts. Also interesting, the every other wizard that we've ever had in this game, as far as I know, Kano, Icelander, Blaze, all have abilities that let you play instant speed on your opponent's turn, and these 2 wizards don't. Like Verdant's ability specifically specifies your turn. I guess Auxilio lets you draw cards on the opponent's turn.
Yes.
But Verdant's is like you have to gain life during your turn, so she is less focused.
Is that what it says?
Yeah, it's whenever you gain life during your turn.
I know I just read it. Whenever you gain life during your turn, you may deal 1 arcane damage. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's interesting that there's less focus on these wizards playing on the opponent's turn, which thus far has kind of been like the main defining feature of how wizards play, is that they play at instant speed on the opponent's turn. So maybe they'll just actually have more instant cards and not be like playing stuff as an instant.
Maybe. I mean, we've seen Sigil of Sanctuary, which is another. Yeah, I mean, she could run this. Arcane Shelter. Channel Lightning Valley.
This card's awesome.
Is an instant that says as a 0 cost yellow instant, lightning instant aura. The first time you deal damage to an opposing hero each turn, draw a card.
Pretty crazy.
He loves to draw cards. He's gonna draw his whole deck in like 2 turns.
Yeah, I'm curious how that's gonna work in limited. Like, how do you draw through your deck?
What's the theming here? I'm so in the weeds with Auxilio. I get Verdance, right? Like she's you're doing this like Mother Earth like growing. I'm gaining life from having the dead leaves in my banish zone. Like it all makes it the circle of life. I'm totally getting that already. Auxilio is like, I'm a god and I go through my deck real fast. I don't really get what's going on.
I guess because his
cycles.
His full name is Constella Intelligence, and your intellect is the number of cards you have, and like head slot stuff, like the deck is kind of associated with your brain in this game or with your head. So I feel like it's like he's a like supercharged robot with lightning, so he can like think fast and like pull cards out of his deck. I feel like
he's not a robot. He's like a
it's like a golem, I guess, kind of a thing. An animated.
Yeah, he's some sort of like ancient being, like that is like animated in some sort of metal.
But I mean, a metal guy.
But wait, you're saying that like you were get more cards?
Well, because he can draw cards through his deck quickly, and if he's an intelligence, it's like that kind of makes sense. Like wizard and like that's generally the theming. Like wizards can manipulate like the top of their deck or their cards and play them fast, so he can just like it's like he can think harder than everyone else and pull cards out of his deck faster.
Okay, maybe. I'm curious to how this will feel.
Yeah.
And then it says channel lightning at the beginning of your end phase. Put a flow counter on this, then destroy it unless you put a lightning card. So it's the same. It's the same as all the other channeling.
It's like Channel Thunderstep or.
Speaking of Channel Thunderstep, how does that card work?
I think it's whenever you play an action card, you can pay 1 and give it go again. And it also has Channel Lightning.
And is it a non-attack?
Yeah, I think it's a 1 cost non-attack with go again. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm. I think it's a yellow 1 cost lightning card with go again and Channel Lightning.
Channel Thunderstep. 1 cost. Block 3. Go
block
again.
3. Did I say block 2?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Whenever you play an action card, you pay 1, and if you do, it gains go again.
Yeah.
That seems good.
It was already pretty. I mean, it was pretty powerful already.
But I mean, I feel like people are like, oh, that's going to be good for Auxilio, but it's like, is he going to run any attacks?
It's not. It's just action. You can play like a tome and give it go again.
That seems good.
Mm-hmm. You play Toma Fiendal from Arsenal. You could play all kinds of weird stuff and give it a go again. You could play potions. You could like play out a bunch of potions in one turn.
Okay.
I don't know.
One card we've got that's a common is a 0-cost lightning instant called Electrostatic Discharge. That says the next attack action card you play this turn with cost 1 or less gets +3. So it's what, a nimblism?
It's basically like a nimblism instant.
Lightning instant nimblism, but it has to be the next, so you can't like. This isn't a lightning press.
It's not a combat trick, but it does get around Warmongers a little bit. It's
combat trick.
It means you can play Aurora, the lightning runeblade, and like you could play this and then play Snatch and not get fucked by Warmongers in the same way. So that's cool.
Will you say that all again?
It is an instant, not a non-attack action. So if you're under Warmongers, you can still play this. It's
that's a good point.
Doesn't get your hand as fucked up.
So do you think that's could be for a wizard? Do you think any of the wizards do? Now, one thing that's interesting is that...
Well, I think part of it is that like a lot of these cards are for draft, and the draft is going to be cool because there's Earth and Lightning, and then there's Runeblade and Wizard. So you could take a card and be like, take an Earth card. I could be playing either one. Or you could take a Wizard card and be playing either Wizard. And I'm sure like as we do the draft, we'll be like, okay, actually like this card is really much better for Verdance than Ocilio. But you can take whatever.
We also have these split cards.
These are really cool. I really like this idea.
Which they've never done before. I mean, they did pull apart split cards for heavy hitters.
Oh, yeah. Those are fun.
But these are not.
Snap.
They're not perforated. They're not meant to be pulled apart.
Just imagining someone like absentmindedly like bending it at like their first armory playing Rosetta. Like
these are interesting because they released a judge. Wait, what did you say?
Oh, I'm just imagining someone like trying to pop the perforation, but it doesn't, and they just like bend their new card.
They get a cold foil. And they're like, can't wait to rip this in half.
Just like do it and then stand there.
Do you think those cold foils? Like that Lisa meme?
Oh yeah.
Do you think that they will come in cold foil in the set? Or just in the skirmish?
That's a good question.
What are the participation ones?
They're kind of replacing the People's Champion mat, I think. They're like a People's Champion prize for the next armory kit.
Right.
Next month.
Which is kind of a bummer. I feel like mats are pretty cool as a new player.
That's true, but cold foils are pretty sweet. There's got to be mats around you can have. But yeah, I don't know.
Hopefully I don't know if that's the case.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it's probably more money. Like more people will be like, "Can I buy that from you for $40? New player, I'll give you so much. I'll give you a tunic for it.
I'll give you my tunic.
Have it. It's not my James White. Please, fucking take it."
So we've got these new split cards.
You were saying they did like a rules thing about how they.
We basically
work, right?
have one for. Wait, where the fuck is the Ocilio one? Here.
Oh,
yeah.
Lightning Wizard.
So some of them are. This is null / shock.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and they've done a rules release for these because I think they work a little different than I would have expected.
Yeah.
So this one is 2 instants.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes more sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was confused as to let's find the one that's. Okay, this one is Comet Storm / Shock. Sorry to make you do all this work.
It's okay.
This one costs 2, and then one side says Comet Storm, deal 5 arcane damage to any target, and Shock says deal 1 arcane damage to any target. Now, it also says meld. You may play one or both halves of this card. Each costs 2.
Mm-hmm.
So the wizard action. Now I was thinking, does that mean that you can play Comet Storm and then as an instant also play Shock? But no, you can't do that.
Right. Yeah. My first thought, I was like, well, usually you have to like, you can't play an action if an instant is trying to resolve. So it would make sense if the instant happens first. Like that kind of made sense to me. And they did say that's how it works, but mostly because they said the right side of the card resolves and then the left side if you play both. And I think they've set it up so that the instant is always on the right and the action is on the left.
Right, which is so strange. Why would it be the right side? Why wouldn't it be the way you read it?
Oh yeah, I guess that's true.
Wouldn't it be left to right?
Well, maybe the idea is it's like first in, last out. So it's like you play Comet Storm, then you play Shock, then Shock resolves, then Comet Storm resolves. I kind of just realized that right now, but that is the way. It's like using the stack, kind of.
Oh, they both go on the stack as two separate layers?
I guess so. Because is that what the rule said, that it resolves right to left?
I don't know.
Because I don't know if it counts as like two separate layers. I think they said that if you play both sides, you're just playing one card that has all of those properties.
Right.
So it's an instant and action wizard and lightning card that is named Comet Storm / Shock, or it's named both. It's named Comet Storm and named Shock. Definitely going to be confusing. There's going to be some weird rules questions at
if
pre-releases
you meld
and stuff.
If you meld, you play a single card as a single layer that has the properties of both sides. The resource cost of playing a card with meld starts at twice the base resource cost, then modified by effects, meaning you could feasibly bring it down from 4.
Okay, sure.
Melding and action instant split cards mean you have to play it like an action. Empty stack and pay 1 action point. And then you don't have go again on this card, Comet Storm / Shock.
Right.
Melded card resolve right side first, then left side. There is priority between resolutions, even though
it's one card.
It's not. It's one. It's not. How?
Oh, what the fuck? That's crazy.
But it's one layer.
It's one layer, but I guess it's separate effects. It's like there's something. I'm trying to think. Are there cards that like have multiple?
Not really.
Discrete. Yeah, most cards, even cards that are like a book, it's like you kind of do all the stuff.
We're both level 1 judges, so this is fascinating to us, and I'm kind of confused as to how this is going to work.
It's interesting.
It is not intuitive.
I better make sure I know this shit for the calling. Can't wait to shark someone because they didn't know.
You can't wait? That's what you live for?
That's a joke.
He's an asshole.
I'm not going to shark anyone. I just want to avoid being sharked myself. Like defensive driving.
Right.
You don't want to hit anyone with your car. You just want to drive so no one will hit you when they're driving incorrectly.
Sure. That's what they all say.
No. I would never want to get anywhere by somebody else making a rules mistake. I want to get somewhere by winning a great game of Flesh and Blood.
Playing the game of Flesh and Blood.
Yeah, we love to do it,
we
folks.
love it. So it's a confusing and interesting mechanic.
Yeah, and I also like the way these work for limited, because it's like this one, Comet Storm Shock, isn't a specialization, but it's Wizard and Lightning. So you need to be Ocilio to run it in your deck.
Right.
So it's sort of like if you take one of these in a draft, you're like, okay, I'm only going to be able to play Ocilio if I take this. So
yeah, so it locks you pretty hard.
You're locked in at,
well, you're not, but it's a waste of a card if you don't play it.
If you take that, then you definitely want to keep taking Wizard or Lightning cards, and then ideally you can like lean your way into the Ocilio lane. I'm also curious if it's going to be possible, because it kind of was in Misveil, to draft like multiple versions of heroes. Like you could draft a different version of New or Enigma, especially because there were so many generics and mystic cards and stuff. So it'd be cool if you could be like, I'm going to take this, and then if one type of Ocilio is cut off, I'll just like make a different kind.
Interesting.
Right? That'd be cool.
What would the other archetypes be?
I don't really know. We don't know exactly what he's going to do.
We don't have enough cards.
But, we know that there's some attack actions. Like, there's earth attacks. So
that's true. There's lightning attacks.
And there's lightning attacks. So maybe there'll be, like, a more, like, hybrid-y style, or someone might just make, like, a pure arcane type of wizard in Limited, where you're just like, I'm just going to have 20 arcane damage and then hope that I push through all of your prevention effects and kill you with arcane and don't really care what you're going to do.
Yeah. So, no clue. Oh, this is the Cilio specialization, majestic one. I mean, they're not specializations, but it's a wizard lightning.
Yeah. Null Shock.
Null Shock says if target instant card has cost less than the total arcane damage you've dealt to opposing heroes this turn, negated. So it's a Aetherize.
Mm-hmm. If you deal arcane damage.
If you've dealt more arcane damage than the cost of the Oasis or whatever you're trying to
cost
negate.
less. Yeah. So it has to. If it costs 1, you'd have to have dealt 2.
Right.
If it costs 0, you have to deal 1.
And then Shock resolves first. This whole card costs 2 if you meld it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then it says deal 1 arcane damage to any target. So if you have dealt 1,
mm-hmm.
and then you have to do more. Yeah, because it's not equal to or less. It's less.
Yeah, if it's at 1 cost.
You could feasibly send this and get over the 1 cost and do that damage, and then this resolves and it works to negate.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Also weird, if you play both sides, like, for example, this card, it costs 2, right, if you play both sides?
That's right.
So if you want to null someone else's null shock, then you would have to have dealt 3. Unless they only played null, in which case you could deal 2. Is that how that works?
Whoa, that's a crazy question.
Because I assume the
well,
cost...
but it says that each costs 1.
I was actually thinking about that earlier, too. When you were reading the rules, I was like, well, it says each costs 1, but then the rules thing says that you're playing 1 card. So I almost wonder, I mean...
Does Meld make it a 2-cost card? Or does it make it...
Maybe. Each costs 1. That's like a little bit of a confusing way to describe it if you're actually playing 1 card. But they are, as often pointed out, reminder text is not actually
it's
rules text.
It's not rules text.
It can be superseded or incorrect if they have to change the rules.
We need true text on
later.
this.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a whole can of worms that we're going to have to think about.
Very exciting. I love a limited set where you get to do weird shit like this, and you have to know instant timings and stuff.
We don't have a lot of time, so let's move on to the other heroes who I'm not as excited about.
Alrighty.
Sorry to all the people who are excited about it. We will, you probably have... I've been listening to the Living Legends podcast, and they are probably more excited about Aurora and Florian than I am.
Yeah.
I feel a little burned personally by Runeblade.
Okay.
Because aesthetically, obviously, this is the Banner Zone. They were some of the first heroes I was really drawn to. The very first CC deck I ever built and spent money on was Viserai. And he was immediately banned.
Yeah.
And that was pretty... I didn't think of it at the time that way because I was so new, but I was sort of just like, wow, that sucks. What I was just like, I guess I'll just keep playing this. And it was really bad.
Yeah, and hadn't you spent like $30 on a Scaletta or something because it was still busted to like build Viserai?
I believe I had spent $100 on $120 on creepers.
Sure. Yeah.
Let alone like, Ninth Blaze was expensive. At the time, like lots of his Mordred Tide was like $12 each or $15 each.
Yeah, especially because that was when like Starvo was running rampant.
Also,
and,
Chain was really good.
Yeah.
At the time, he hadn't LL'd yet. So lots of Runeblade cards were really expensive.
It was a pretty long time of Runeblade dominance.
And I was like, I want to play this deck. It seems really fun. I'm having a great time with it. And I just, got all the cards. I did pull 1 or 2. I can't remember expensive cards from getting arcane boxes. But it's not like those were cheap either.
Yeah.
Those were, normal price at the time. So it was a funny, like, kind of classic things that happens to players in TCG. That you spend a bunch of money and then they ban your hero. So
Rude
that
awakening.
was like pretty rough. It didn't really matter. I was pretty easily slotted back into Chain or whatever, and that's the great thing about Flesh and Blood is that it didn't ruin my time. It was
you
just
eventually
like
played some Briar with a lot of that equipment. Like
I did play Briar, who was very good as well and was a lot of fun.
Briar was fun. Yeah.
But I just feel like I can't get over how bad Runeblade hands feel.
Sure. Yeah.
I am
tough.
a hater of Runeblade hands. And if you never played Runeblade, what that means is a hand where you have all non-attacks or you have all only attacks. So your Rosetta Thorn can't turn on, or you can't get go again because you didn't play enough non-attacks.
Yeah.
The design of this up until now, we don't know what they are, but has really revolved around a mixture of non-attacks and attacks to make the turns flow. Now, when maybe it's a good balance. Like, I don't know in terms of design. I'm not really a game designer. Maybe it's good that when you does line up, it's crazy. When it doesn't line up, okay, you block okay.
Right. Especially the set has embodiments of Earth back. So I think that was one of the cool things about Briar is that it was like the embodiments of Earth turned your non-attacks into 3 blocks or even 4 blocks. So you like could still block with them it was definitely an interesting like deck building puzzle where there were ways to try to like mitigate the downsides of getting these bad hands.
Right.
And try to like high roll with the good hands.
So I'm just a little nervous about Florian and Aurora because I just don't like that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Although I have played a lot of Rune Blades. So I'm like sort of Florian is basically like the boy who has constantly broken your heart, but is too sexy to not pick up the phone when he calls.
I mean, he's got a cloak of autumnal leaves, of orange leaves over his armor. Like,
yes,
it's pretty sick.
Skinny goth twink. I'm pretty interested, I have to be honest, but I'm not super interested. Anyway, his name is Rotwood Harbinger. He's 4 intellect, 48 health, and he says if there are 8 or more Earth in your banish zone, Florian gets. If you would create 1 or more aura tokens, instead create that many, plus 1 of each of those tokens. Each.
Right. So people have kind of called it Mordred Tide on a stick.
Yeah.
More or less. It's like once he's turned on, he can, any tokens you're making, rune chants, embodiments of Earth, whatever.
Every time he's got Mordred Tide going. And we don't really know what he's gonna do with those. I mean, except for send them, right?
Right.
We don't know what his weapon looks like. What does his specialization is called Germinate. It's an XX majestic blue 3-block. This one is actually a spec, Florian spec. It says create a rune chant or embodiment of Earth token. Repeat this process X or more times. Gain X plus 1 life. So, just for easy math, if you pay 6 into this and Florian is turned on, you get 6 rune chants, and you gain
8 because you do it and then repeat it X more times, right? So if X is 3, it's like you make 1, then you do it X is 1,
8
X is
rune
2,
chants,
X is 3,
and then 4 life.
Gain 4 life.
So it's a 6, 4, 12 value.
Pretty great. I mean,
if he's on, and if you pay 6.
Well, even the floor of this card, honestly, if you don't pay anything into it and he's not turned on,
it's
you play
2
it.
Rune chants and a.
Well, if you pay 0, you get 1 token and you gain 1 life because if X is 0, which is still like that's minimum 2 value. No go again. So I guess that becomes more on rate of like a blue 0 for 2. But honestly, an embodiment of Earth can be worth a lot more than 1 value if you are against like an aggressive opponent and you're assuming you're going to block out a decent amount the next turn, and you're like, I'm going to block with 3 cards. Each one gets plus 1. That's like 4 or 5 value off of playing Terminate. Even
so
if
X equals 2, if you pay 2 into this,
pay 4 total.
Oh, 4
because it's XX.
Okay, but if X equals 1,
you paid 2.
You paid 2, so you could pitch a blue and then have 1 floating. And I don't know what you would do with that, but I'm just theoretic. I'm trying to get the math in my head. That means, and he's on. Florian's on. That means you would make 2 rune chants and gain 1 life.
You're saying if X is 1 or if X is 2?
If X is 1, and you've paid 2.
If he's on, you would make 4 because you make
4
1
rune chants.
Because you make 1 and then you repeat it and X times, which is 1.
Oh yeah.
So and then each time
4.
you do double.
So X is 0 and he's on. It's 2. 4. 8. 2, 4, 8.
2, 4, 8. If it's like doubled. Yeah.
Whoa.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah,
that is pretty crazy.
And also, what I'm just realizing, you can probably run into some really weird math if you play a Mordred and then play a Germinate or something.
What happens?
Probably just like each time you make 3 instead of making 2. It's like instead make that many plus 1, and then Mordred is that many plus 1. So it's you make 3 and then you make 3 and then.
Oh wait! Also, this is gain X plus 1 life. So that all happens at once.
Yeah.
So you would gain 4 life immediately. Like you don't. It's not like Verdance where it's 1, 1, 1.
Yeah, it's all one chunk of life. Yeah, it's basically like you're making X plus 1 tokens and you're gaining X plus 1 life, but you're just like you're making the tokens as distinct instances because you can also make different different ones if you want. You could make 4 rune chants and 4.
my man seems like he's got some real big sword energy here, so I feel like this sword is going to be really fucked up. His specialization, not specialization, Thistlebloom life split card is a 0 cost. So why wouldn't you always meld it?
Yeah. If you don't want to use the action point. If you want to play it on the opponent's turn.
And it says
perhaps.
gain 1 life as an instant. But if you want to play the action too, you have to play it as an action with no go again.
Yeah.
But both of these things happen. And it says create X rune chance where X is the total life you've gained this turn. So you could... No, you can't. You could... Can you creepers this in?
Sure. Yeah.
Like if you attack and then play germinate? No, wait.
Yeah, you could just use creepers to let you play the non-attack action as an instant, so then you're basically playing just an instant.
Right.
Like life and...
So you could
Thistlebloom
attack
instance.
with go again. And then play germinate for 2 costs, right? If you for X equals 1, and then you say you get 4 rune chance if he's on.
Well, germinate also doesn't have go again, but you're saying creepers in germinate.
Then you creepers in this.
Oh,
Melded.
Right, but you wouldn't have go again because you already spent the action point on the first one, right? On germinate.
Yeah, you wouldn't have an action point. You would. It's an instant. You play it as an instant.
Just do it after you've already attacked. Like attack and then close the chain and play germinate and then play this with creepers. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it seems strong. Also, just
then
cool
then you would gain 5 rune chance.
Yeah, if you've gained 5 life.
And 1 life, yeah. From this, yeah.
Total.
So that seems pretty cool, actually.
Does seem good.
I'm not gonna say I'm not excited for Florian. I'm just like worried about him.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like I was saying earlier, it's definitely like in this meta, if Zen is smacking you in the face and you're like, hang on, let me banish a couple more cards and then I'll turn my hero ability on and then I'll make 10 rune chance, and he's like, okay, bro, here's 30 damage.
Right. Sure.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
We'll see. Let's speed through Aurora because we do have to go soon. But Aurora is once per turn instant for 2. Create an embodiment of lightning token. Activate this only if you played a lightning card this turn. So she's a 440 hero as usual. Thing about her is she is ugly. I know everyone is liking Aurora, and I'm glad there's this, but this is a very Disney adult hero to me. She have looks
to agree.
Too much like she's in some sort of CGI Frozen movie.
Sure, or like to me, it looks like a League of Legends character or something.
No shade to the artist.
Also, no shade to League of Legends.
And no shade to League of Legends. It's just not this. To me, this looks very like I said, it looks very Disney adult.
Briar is much cooler looking. Yeah.
Right. This doesn't look like a Hot Topic character. This doesn't look like an indie comic. This doesn't look like anything. It just looks like a sort of standard board game ass digital artwork. And obviously very talented. It's just not my style. She was making the DreamWorks face. I'm not happy with it.
Yeah. I wonder,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, do you think this kind of design is meant to like draw in more people? Like,
absolutely.
Is this like more
this is what people look at and they're like, this is professional. This looks like quality, like real Hollywood money is involved. And I think this is a conscious choice of like, hey, if you want to play a hot lady, I mean, I feel like they're very like torn on that because it's like New is definitely like very sexual, but they're still really tasteful about it. They don't have the American inclination of just being like, let's show you almost all of her body. Like with New, she's like not even really scantily clad. Like she's wearing a pretty big robe. She just doesn't have shoes on. You do see her like naked from the back
on some cards,
but it's
it's also part of the theming. It's like a very specific
kind
reason.
of far away, and she's like,
she's not just sexy for no reason.
She's
it's
a seductress who like, it's. I think they do a good job, even though I don't think they need to really play into that aspect of the community. But whatever.
I was gonna say that one of the things I like a lot about the like theming and design about Fab is that it's like a lot of the art and characters feel very adult without feeling like capital A, like adult content, pornographic type of adult.
But
it just feels like mature and made for adults and not for kids.
But honestly, I think that's what I think is okay. Like, I think it's fine to. It's funny, we haven't talked about this because we didn't talk about Part the Mistveil at all, which is a great set. And I loved every one of it. I actually pulled a Marvel New, but I did sell it. I was a big Enigma fan.
Mm-hmm.
Chris has been on Zen.
Been rocking Zen.
I was just going to say that, New feels like it's like it's sexualized, but not in a gross way, not in like a lurid, like misogynist. I feel like the thing that people don't like about things like Vice shorts or these sort of like, there's a very like gross infantilization of women that happens in this sort of like fantasy art.
Yeah, that's true.
Where
New like is in control of it. She's using her sexuality to assassinate people.
Right,
she's,
to her,
like,
for
owning
her own
it
power, and like that's it, but it wouldn't even have to be that. Like, you could just be a sexy lady. But I think when it's designed to be like an ogling thing or like an infantilization thing or something that feels sort of sexist is when it crosses a line into people like thinking it's for me at least would be something that I would be like, this is gross and not good. Yeah. And I think LSS is pretty much drawn a line in the sand that they are not willing to go there, but they still do have like kind of they lean into like a little bit of waifu bait stuff with Prism and with New, even though I think she's like the most appropriate. Yeah.
I appreciated that.
And this is the first one that feels like this is like one of those kid superheroes. It feels a little bit like, I don't know. This one feels a little for children, and it's not sexy enough for me to think it's bad for in terms of like she's fully dressed, but she is like skin tight, like superhero. She reminds me of like Jubilee from the X-Men or whatever. Okay. It's a rogue type hero, which is like, that's fine. It's just like never did anything for me. It feels like you're supposed to be looking at her, not like being her. Do you know what I mean?
Kinda. Yeah. It's a very like two-dimensional type of design.
It's a male gaze type of hero.
Sure. Yeah. Is it a male?
Or it's for kids? I don't know. It's hard to really. There's a hint of infantilization here that is just turning me off. Sure. Not really the point. The point is that on top of all of that, if her hero ability seemed cool, I would be much more excited about her. But she seems like a KO deck.
She just looks like go wide Runeblade. Like you make embodiment of
maybe,
lightning.
but you only have go again once.
Right. Yeah, but you also have some lightning cards that have go again. But yeah, you're totally right. It's like, I think it'll be similar to. She's maybe like Channel Mount Heroic Briar, but without the Channel Mount Heroic. It's like you can make embodiments of lightning. You can play stuff like Snatch or Scar for a Scar and give them go again. You can like play stuff with on-hit effects. You could just kind of go wide. And
it seems real boring in terms of play style, which is like pitch a blue, play a bunch of 0 costs, one cost sword, right? And so
her sword is 1.
You pitch a blue, you play 3 cards that are 0 costs, and then you sword for 2, I guess,
and go again. Yeah, her hero ability and her weapon are both like play lightning cards. You got to play a lightning.
You
got
to play all the lightning cards that are 0 cost.
Hold your whole hand, dump lightning cards.
Yeah, this is. But she has this vaporized shock that says cost 0, destroy an aura permanent with cost X or less and up to X aura tokens, where X is the total arcane damage you've dealt to opposing heroes this turn,
and or up to X aura tokens.
So you get to destroy Cilio's thing.
Yeah, you can destroy their auras, or you can destroy rune chants. Those are aura tokens, right?
Yep.
Like rune chants or might tokens or gold or whatever.
Oh yeah, aura tokens. I don't think that the sigils are tokens actually. So it's just for rune.
But it's also
rune chants, yeah.
It's just like tokens. Yeah.
What do you call not the Runeblade shit that Briar has? Embodiments.
Yeah, you can destroy embodiments.
I hate the word embodiments. It just does not stick in my head for some reason.
But it also is destroy an aura permanent with cost X or less. So you can destroy his sigils as well.
And or up to X aura.
And or. Yeah, and/or is always weird on a card.
You can do them both.
Do both? Do one? Do the other?
So that seems really good.
That does seem nice, yeah.
But yeah, she just seems like a little disruptive, but mostly she'll probably be an aggro deck. And the linear aggro decks are never that exciting to me. I wasn't a fan of, that's just me, though. I just can't really muster up a lot of excitement. If she's awesome, hey, I'm excited.
That's fair. I mean, like, one of the first decks I really fell in love with in the game was Blitzbriar, which is like what this kind of is reminding me it'll be like is just like a go wide lightning Runeblade where you have like the Runeblade fridge. You probably run some good generics. You have combat tricks with lightning press and stuff. Like, it doesn't not sound fun. We'll see.
No, I'm sure it'll be great and limited. We're getting to time here. There's a lot of other good cards. There's a bunch of expansion slot cards. Especially, I'm very excited for the new Riptide card called Plan for the Worst.
Card looks very cool.
Very cool stuff. We're very excited about Rosetta, and I'm sure we'll be back very soon to either talk about the rest or talk about the new stuff that will be released.
Yeah, maybe we'll get some more spoilers soon. Do we actually know when we're getting stuff spoiled, or is it not really much?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I would love to see some spoilers. If we get some soon, we should talk about it.
We're happy to be back. We hope you like the show. If you do like the show, okay, here's the thing. Should have said this at the beginning, but I'm going to make. We're trying to do Crankshaft, and we're trying to do this show regularly.
Yeah.
And the big thing is that we need a little money. Sure. So if you'd like to help support the show, we're going to start a Patreon. I'll tweet about it. We'll tweet about it. We'll try to figure out what that means in terms of bonus content and Discord. I mean, we already have a Discord, so we'll see.
Special roles, secret channel where you can make fun of us. And or something.
We'll be your best friends in real life if you live in Brooklyn. So thanks so much for listening. Please look out for the Patreon. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you don't already. Like and subscribe, all that shit. And we appreciate you being here.
You're welcome back.
Welcome back. Anything else you want to say before we go? Watch the Crankshaft.
Yeah, check out the Crankshaft. I think there's one more thing we have to say to everyone, and that is, you're banished.
You're banished.